Right, these are the burst size. You cut 2 of them. When I cut them, I cut them and I didn't show you myself cutting them, so I'm going to go over it now. You cut 2 of them from any part of the fabric. The pattern on it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that if the 2 match each other. These I cut off from 2 different places, scrap pieces. As long as they're long enough that you can fold the fabric over, so because you need a long strip like this. But it doesn't matter if the 2 pieces are identical or totally different, because these are the sides and you don't see them. Mine do not match, if you notice. But that's fine. They don't have to. Now the burse itself, again, you want to save fabric when you can. So you need 2 pieces cut on a fold, like this. I have 2 pieces cut on a fold. And they were cut from different parts of the fabric, whatever happened to be available. But one of them has to be nice. And the other can be anything. I mean, as far as the pattern is there, the pattern doesn't match in this. It's not, for example, the cross is not right in the middle of this. Generally, the fabric would be going this way. It doesn't matter. This is going to be the back of the burse. So it doesn't matter what the pattern is on it. It doesn't have to match the front. But the front should have a pattern that kind of symmetrical. So that because you're going to put your applique in the center of it, and you would like, or whatever you're going to use for a design on the burse, in the center of it, and you want it, what's around it, to blend with it, to go with it. So as I have 4 crosses here and this thing in the middle. And if I didn't like that, I could turn it over and try to use the other side, this cross here in the center, little cross. But it's even. There's 2 crosses on both sides here. I would probably go with this one and put it in the center of this design right here between the 4 crosses. Not on this side of the fabric. This is the right side here, but it'll be the same. So it'll be on this part of the fabric. But I want to explain that to you because I did mention about that when I cut the fabric, and you should know only one burst piece. And they're cut on the fold, but one burst piece needs to be symmetrical to have the design match. The other one is the back. It doesn't, and neither do the sides. It's not hard at all. The trick to it is the folds. You have to, we've already pressed this, but now we want to turn it and press it the other direction, right sides together, and put a press in it. We're going to fold all the pieces right sides together and press them. Okay. This one. And this one is right sides together. And the small pieces, right sides together. Press. I'm going to start with those. I'm going to go and sew across this end about a 1/2 inch, whatever my seam allowance was. It's 1/2 inch usually with me. If you sewed 5/8, it wouldn't make any difference. These are the side pieces, so I'm going to sew those, and I should be back right away. Okay, and that's done. And now I'm going to open them up, turn them Turn right side out. And press them. So this is the right side. I want to press this seam that I just put in it flat. It's like a side seam almost. It's actually going to be at the bottom. I'm almost out of steam. Okay, and I'll do the same with the other one. I got plenty of steam. Okay, now, those are your side pieces. You're going to start with, I usually start with the piece that has the applique. This piece here. I'm going to lay it like that. Remember, it's facing the long way. The fold is important, that's why we put it in. The rule is fold goes to fold, raw edge to raw edge. So this is the fold of the side piece. And that's going to meet this fold, and this raw edge is going to meet this raw edge. And you're going to put a pin anywhere that will hold it back from the edge, because we're going to work on this side. So then the same with the other one. Fold, this is the sewn edge, this is the folded edge. Fold goes right to the fold, raw edge to raw edge. Put a pin. Fold this down. We're making a sandwich. Get that fold nice and flat. Everything lined up. All right, now we need to know we have a lot of seam allowance on here. So we need to know where we're going to sew. So this is a 9-inch, should be a 9-inch board. It is. I had to trim off a little bit of it, but it's basically 9 inches. So 4.5 is the center. Come up here to the edge. I'm going to get a flat edge. 4.5 is the center. So there's the center right there. All right. Here's the center of my pattern, which is what I lined my thing up on. So even it's a little to the side. So this is the center of my pattern. So these two pins are going to line up like that. All right. And then I'm going to take my chalk. I'm going to use the blue. The white I don't think will show on this. It does, but very little. Let's do the blue. I'm going to chalk the edge here. And I'm going to chalk this edge. Okay. Come on. I'm going to pull this down so I get this all the way down. And I'm going to sew, I'm going to go over and sew this, put some pins here. I'm going to sew it not on the blue line, just outside of the blue line, because the blue line is the exact width of the board. And if I sewed right on the blue line, the card wouldn't fit into it. So I'm going to sew on the outside of the blue line, just outside the blue line. I'm going to line the inside of my foot up on the sewing machine. And this I did show you on the seminar video, because whoever had the camera, I think it was Gerald, did a close-up there on the sewing machine so you could see them lining up the foot. But the inside of the foot lines up here so that therefore the needle comes just outside the line. All right, so I'm going to sew this off and then I'll be right back. Okay, sew the burse. Take the pins out of it. And turn it right, cut off the excess fabric. I put a lot of seam allowance on this so that you would have room to move your board around and still match up patterns. It's thick here at the top where you have the side in, and it's especially thick there where the seam is. It's finally time to get these scissors sharpened. Unless somebody's been using them. No, they've served me a long time. It's been a couple of years since I've had to sharpen them. Okay. All right. You do have pins in it, so watch out when you turn it. I knew there was another pin there somewhere. Okay. This is your front with the sides attached. You're going to pull it out flat and press it. Pressing is everything. Okay. First, try this too. All right, so we're going to do the same thing with the back. All right, it's folded right side together. Here's the fold. Again, you're working with these. It doesn't matter whether this is up or down. You're working with the sides. You're totally ignoring this. Fold goes to fold. Raw edge to raw edge. This is what you line up. All these bent pins here. Get rid of them. And then on this side, same thing, just flip the middle out of the way. Fold goes to fold, raw edge to raw edge. And pin it. And this, now you can just leave this folded out of the way, it doesn't matter however you want to do it. Then you're going to fold this down again and make a sandwich. Get the fold as flat as you can, the raw edges together, and pin. Then we're going to have to chalk it, just like we did the other side. You have extra fabric in there, so you might want to pull away from the edge. Just pull it back. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing as we did the other side. It doesn't really matter because we don't have a pattern to match on this, so just kind of find the middle. Whatever middle you're comfortable with here. And pull it down and now I'm going to sew that again right outside the blue lines, and I'll be back. Okay, now it's sewn the second side, so take out the pins, cut away the excess fabric. Just doesn't like that fold right there. Do that with these scissors. This is what it looks like. Front and back and sides. Again, we have to press it. And we want to press these folds out. So I'm going to put it all the way over on this side. Okay, and then you want to fold it so that you get a little crease in there. Accordion fold sort of thing. And we'll do the same with this side. All right, now you should be able to put your boards in. Now the boards are going to, on the inside you have that seam allowance. You want the board to ride on top of the seam allowance. If the board doesn't fit one way, turn it sideways, turn it 90 degrees, because you measured it and used the board to measure it, but sometimes they're not cut squarely. You know, they look square, but there's a fraction of a difference from one side to the other. And so just turn it. It'll probably go in the other way. You're riding it all the way in to the bottom. I'm going to do the same with the other side. Make sure that the colored side faces down, faces the inside of the burse. Otherwise, I mean, there's a white side and a colored side of each one. And if you have the colored side up on this fabric, it might not notice it, but on white fabric it'll show through. Same, if you had the white fabric up on a dark fabric, it'd probably show through too. Right, it's always tricky to get it started. There you go. Once it's started, it usually slides right in. All the way down to the bottom, to that where the fold was. So that's where it sits on the fold. It sits on the folded edge. And then you're going to fold in the fabric at the top, and then you're going to whip stitch it across. What makes this work, that you don't, this nice and square, is that there's a gap here at the top, and you don't see it, you don't notice it either on the inside or here because it's close to the bottom at the pinched end, but it does make it work nicely that you don't get this bunch of fabric up at the top, which is why I used to not make closed-sided burses, because they didn't, they always look distorted. But this one works nice. Now you're going to push the fabric down on the inside, so this side is nice and flat. So you're going to push it down, the excess fabric, the seam allowance that's here at the top, and you want to push it so that the inside is a little lower than the front, because you're going to be whip stitching the two outsides. If you catch the inside, it won't matter, but it'll stay because it'll be pinched between the two outside ones. It's not going to go anywhere, but it doesn't have to be sewn. So push it down. It's a little lower on the inside than on the outside, and I use it because this is a cardboard. Mat board is cardboard. You can pin right into it. So I go through the one side and the other side and then pin into the board. I usually put 5 pins, one on each end, one in the middle, and one halfway between them all. Okay, I'm gonna turn it, do the same with this side. Again, all the fabric's going onto the inside. So I start with this one and fit the fabric around it. When I get to the ends, I just push down with my fingers and it'll pull all the fabric in. And then you just gotta square it up. Keep the inside edge a little lower. And then you're just ready to push them together and start at one corner at one end and whip stitch it all the way across. You got to be able to take the stitches out so that if you ever need to clean it, you can do that. You open it up and take the cardboard out of it and then clean it.